An ultimatum to the suspects of the alleged rape slay of Christine Angelica Dacera, even without an arrest warrant. Philippine National Police Chief General de Bolsinas gave the suspects 72 hours to surrender, or police will hunt them down using force if necessary. In a statement Tuesday, Sina said they know who the suspects are and that those found abetting their escape will also be arrested. 8 men are still at large as police continue investigating the death of a flight attendant found at a hotel room in Makati on New Year's Day. One of the suspects provided CNN Philippines a copy of the medico-legal report, which he said he got from the police. It shows Dacera died of ruptured aortic aneurysm. It also mentions bruises on her right hand, her right thigh, knees, ankles, and right foot, and a linear abrasion on her right thigh. But CNN Philippines cannot independently confirm the authenticity of the document, and police have yet to release a copy of it. Some of the suspects have denied they raped Dacera, claiming they were gay. But the police say initial exam results show there was a possible foul play in Dacera's death. The Dacera family insists Christine did not die of natural causes and earlier sought an independent autopsy. In a press briefing yesterday, one of their lawyers denounced the victim blaming on social media against Christine.
Sinisisi sa babae pag may nangyayari sa kanya. Okay, let's concede. Blame the girl pag nalasing siya, sumuka siya. Blame her. Blame the girl pag nalasing siya, nabasag yung baso. Blame her. Blame the girl pag nalasing siya, umihi siya sa kama niya. Blame her. Okay? But don't ever blame a girl na pagkagising niya, binabol siya. Don't ever blame a girl pag nagising siya, wala siyang damit. Don't ever blame a girl pag namatay siya.
Meantime, the Dacera family is turning to President Rodrigo Duterte as they appeal for the suspects to surrender. More from Rex Remitio.
There are still many questions surrounding the death of flight attendant Christine Dacera. What's the main cause of her death? Was there a foul play, and was she raped? For now, Dacera's family is waiting for the arrest warrant that will be issued by the Makati Regional Trial Court. And they've already filed rape and homicide charges to at least 10 suspects. And some of them are Christine's friends, while others are strangers, according to the family's spokesperson, attorney Brigette Reyes. The hotel's duty manager, who's also reportedly a friend of one of those who attended the party, is among the respondents. It cannot be concluded yet who among them was directly or indirectly involved in Christine's death. The inquest proceedings are still ongoing, hence they refuse to mention the names of the suspects. But for the Dacera family, they feel they have enough probable cause to establish Christine was abused and raped.
Sana, ang hili ko lang, hindi din sana yan mangyari sa mga anak nyo o sa kapatid nyo. Ang nangyari na karumal-dumal na barbaric death of my daughter. Yan lang po. To God be the glory. Aika, paglaban kita, Aika.
The family says she has bruises on her legs and knees, and they have her remains as evidence. They're also seeking another autopsy since they say the police only mentioned aneurysm as the cause of her death. Attorney Reyes says her aneurysm might have been triggered by the alleged assault and the reported spiking of her drink with drugs. They're also disputing reports on social media that Christine was a loose person and a drunkard. Her mother, Sharon, says Christine isn't like that and she has high dreams and was raised well. Another lawyer of the family, Jose Leda, refutes the speculation that Christine engaged in sexual activity with consent. Leda argues she shouldn't have died if what she did was consensual. The family vows to fight until the end, until they get justice. And they're also appealing to President Duterte to intervene and help them capture the suspects.
Let's get an update on the investigation. We now talk to Philippine National Police spokesperson, Police Brigadier General Ildebrandi Usana. Good morning, sir. Thanks for taking our call.
Good morning, ma'am. Thank you for having me.
Sir, the police have carried out an autopsy on the body of Christine. Are the results out, and what does it contain, sir?
Based on the information that came from the chief of police himself, part of the evidence that was gathered, of course, had something to do with the results of the autopsy coming from the crime laboratory, scene of the crime operatives team. And these were the ones responsible for providing the chief of police what else needs to be sort of presented to the prosecutor the moment they filed the inquest case.
Sir, what can you say about the autopsy report that was released to the media by the family of one of those who were in the party with Christine? Ito po, I can mention na po na kasi nasa TV na po, yung si Claire de la Fuente po, yung anak niya, andun po sa party. He was one of those who found Christine in the bathtub. They released po a copy of the autopsy report. Authentic po ba yun?
We leave it to the crime laboratory to share the authenticity of that document. But insofar as the chief of police is concerned, this is a form of disinformation because insofar as that document is concerned, this is supposed to be confidential. And no one could probably obtain any of the copies coming from the crime lab because it has something to do with the crime that has happened. So we'd rather the police and even the crime lab to perhaps authenticate or even tell the truth about that document that came out through the social media.
Sir, the family though is requesting for another autopsy saying na baka may nag-trigger po ng aneurysm ni Christine like the alleged assault or if there are drugs placed in her drink. Your reaction to this, sir?
All conceivable idea as regards the nature of the case itself, all the surrounding facts, all the things that probably may have been obtained by the police will be considered. We do not want to create an impression that only a particular finding would serve as basis of the police to say that indeed a crime has been committed, especially with regard to rape. So we'd rather that the family probably might also think that there is a need for them to get another expert's opinion by having another autopsy and all that. That's their right. Insofar as the police concerned, this will still serve as basis for the presentation of the evidence to the court.
Sir, meron na po bang toxicology report?
Yes, ma'am, that's right. There was, in fact, coming from the chief of police, a report that there were bottles found in the room. There was intoxication, and apparently, based on the chief of police narrative, someone probably might have placed something in the glass of wine of Miss Christine, and that in fact resulted in her feeling dizzy afterwards.
Sir, but that's based on observation, ano po, and all from what people are saying who were in the party. Pero yung toxicology report, sir, meron na po ba from the samples taken from Christine?
That actually has been reported by the chief of police himself. Indeed, yes, that's right.
So ano po results nung toxicology report on Christine?
We'd rather await the information coming from no less than the chief of police, the investigators at the least.
Okay, sir. Can we talk about the CCTV footage, sir, of what happened a few hours before Christine Dacera was found unconscious in the hotel bathtub? Have you seen the CCTV footage?
I haven't seen it yet, ma'am, completely. I just saw it through the news. But this definitely would form part of the pieces of evidence gathered by the police. And that, in fact, created the idea that those people who came to the room were identified one after another. And this served actually as basis of the police to file a case against them. Circumstantial evidence dictates that in as much as you came or you were there in the room, there is the likelihood or the probability that you were part of whatever it is that may have happened right there inside the room.
Sir, I'd just like to go back to the autopsy report. I know that was that's now circulating on social media. Sabi po doon, Christine was embalmed already bago po yung autopsy report po. So, yung may mga medical experts po who are saying on social media that hindi po ba dapat hindi pa siya na-embalm dahil po dapat po may autopsy muna, dapat she should have been examined first. What do you think of this, sir? Do you see something irregular?
I really am not at liberty to share with you what actually happened insofar as the forensic examination is concerned, in particular embalming and all that. We leave it to the information coming from the chief of police, from the crime laboratory, from the investigators who are still doing some sort of generating the pieces of evidence from the scene of the crime. What matters now is there is a body of crime, hostility, so to speak, and this will serve as basis to say that indeed there is a foul play based on the contusions, the lacerations, and all that. Although some would say that this may have been a result of the drunkenness coming from the lady, but all these will have to be considered. But at the end of the day, because there were people there and somebody died, then they just have to be considered as suspects.
So, sir, what is the status of the case now? Because an earlier statement by the Makati PNP said the case is now closed or the case is now solved. Ano po ang status ngayon?
It is solved because the persons or the suspects have already been identified. Some, in fact, were arrested. I guess there were 3. And the case has actually been filed with the prosecutor. The evidence was presented, so this is considered solved. But this has not been closed yet. Of course, it will take quite a time for us to consider a case that is closed on the basis of the proceedings that will happen in court. So only the case has already been solved, but not yet closed.
Sir, finally, how is the PNP implementing the directive of PNP Chief General Debold Sinas? We understand may ultimatum na po siya for the suspects to surrender.
That actually is a call for them to really surrender themselves in as much as they already have been identified. That 72-hour is enough for us to also await the issuance of warrant of arrest coming from the court itself, because the inquest case has already been filed. This is, I guess, similar to what happened to Nuesca, that eventually the commitment order was issued by the court following the filing of the case by the prosecutor. That 72 hours is enough for us to eventually hunt them down once the warrant of arrest is issued. And that is something that will serve as basis as well for the police to hunt them down if the warrant of arrest is issued.
Thank you for your time, sir. PNP spokesperson Brigadier General Ildebrandi Usana.